sure everyone has had this experience, and it's pretty terrible that if you have this kind of disconnect feeling with your partner, you're still trying to be close, or you just try to sleep in the same bed and it just feels heavy. It feels like it feels awkward. It doesn't feel comfortable. Your system can't fully drop into relaxation mode, like something constantly feels agitated. Hi, my name is Dika, and you are listening to my podcast where I give you a look into my life as a former business consultant, now Tantra teacher and speaker. If you're interested in self-development and really receiving the education that you should have had growing up, specifically around your femininity, sexuality, love, and relationships, then you found the right place. It's here where I share my life's journey, which once was heady, numb, unorgasmic, and basically me trying to be like a man, all while shaming and blaming anything that actually made me a woman, just blindly following the path that society set out for me, to ditching my imagined corporate career, moving my ass to Bali, setting up my business, meeting and marrying my soulmate, and becoming a Tantra teacher. I'm now on a mission to make all of this feminine and tantric wisdom that I've gathered over the past years modern, down to earth, and easily applicable. And I work with you, smart, intellectual, successful, strong, independent woman, to balance out your powerful masculine side with more softness, surrender, playfulness, love, and pleasure. Basically, enlivening and juicing up your daily and relationship life. If you're curious on how to work with me, then check out all the information in the podcast description. And for now, welcome to a new episode. So yes, welcome back to a new podcast episode. I felt really inspired to share 5 different tools that me and my partner Modestus use definitely weekly, if not on the daily, to really easily come back to connection and to create these little moments of quality time, of like deep connection, deep intimacy. And they're super simple, which is amazing, because actually connection is not that difficult, but sometimes we perceive it as something like, oh my God, we're so far away. I don't know how we're ever going to come back to connection. And so we tend to get lost into a lot of stories. And so these tools are really body-based. So they're really like behind these tools are a lot of tantric principles. And one of them is that the body is basically the portal into the divine, or your body is the way or the portal to deep connection, to a deep sense of fulfillment and a deep sense of love. That's not something that you just experience by just being in your mind and understanding everything theoretically. No, that actually happens and comes from you feeling. And this is actually at the very baseline, at the very core of all of these tools, is allowing your system to come back to a space of feeling, to come back to a space of relaxation, to drop into rest and digest nervous system mode. Because very often when we are feeling disconnected from ourselves, but also from our partner, like often it starts with like, you're disconnected from me or whatever, you're disconnecting, you're not here with me. But at the very base, what's happening already is that you are disconnecting from yourself. And then, something is being mirrored in the relationship. Now, I won't dive into, because I also recorded a podcast that goes into this principle of projections. Like when you're saying you with a charge behind it, it's often something that like we invite to actually look back. It's a chance to look back at yourself instead. Like something gets triggered by your partner. Okay, what's happening instead? This is your moment to go inside, learn something new about yourself, and heal a certain part of you that most likely needed more love and acceptance when you were younger. So we have a whole podcast where we talk about projections, but also where we introduce this concept of conscious fighting. Very, very useful. Also there we'll describe some tools and some practices and some insights that are essential for that. And also that will definitely help you to come back to connection easily, because that you pop through the fight way faster. You don't get stuck in this like constant discussion loop mode, like yada, 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 and the same pattern and the same topic being discussed over and over and over again, and that not moving anywhere. Sometimes you just need a good conscious fight. Conscious is the consciousness there is very important, because that makes the fight actually healing, and that makes it you break out of the loop. Now, in this specific podcast episode, I won't go into that. However, I am going to discuss ways to come back together. So whether that's because, you have been fighting, or just there's been moments where both of you have been really, really busy, or you have yourself been really busy, because that's often where it starts, is that the moment we start living more from our heads. And so that's because we have many things to do. We go, we have to achieve, reach goals, run errands. That's when we start living in our mind. And that's when we're starting to move away from connection to the present moment, to here and now, connection to your own body, connection to yourself, to your felt experience, to the feminine. And in turn, also connection, very easily, you lose it with your partner. Because if you lose connection to the present moment, to yourself, to your own body, that automatically means that, you lose connection with anything else around you. So that's your partner as well. And so the tools that I'll be describing will help you to come back to your body, to come back to the feminine. So when I say feminine, that doesn't mean like both men and women have masculine and feminine energy, but specifically, you need that be in touch with the feminine component, in the sense of the feminine is all about love, about feeling, about sensing, about it's more energetic. It plays itself out more in the energetic realm, where the masculine principle is like, it has to do with logics, has to do with things that you can physically see. Now, the thing is, when it comes to the concept of a concept like connection, that is something really hard to see and to grasp just as a physical expression. Of course, when people are connected, often they want to be close. They want to like caress and touch each other. They might want to be kissing or cuddling or snuggling, and you really want to be close. So that's definitely how you can see, okay, we're not connected. However, when we are in this space of disconnect, then just simply like coming close often doesn't work, in the sense of, because you're both having this armor on, you're having this mind-based like reality at the moment. So trying to get close is almost like you're trying to get like two magnets close and they're just kind of being repulsed. So it's like two plus poles coming together, but because both of you are in the masculine, in the doing, in the achieving, in the running around, and understanding kind of mode. And so that will, like, even if you try to physically be close, it won't feel good. And I'm pretty sure. And so the concept of connection in itself is more feminine. That means it plays itself out more in the energetic realms, in the sense of it's more something energetic. Because imagine like if I talk about connection, it's something you can understand with your mind, but really automatically when I talk about connection, most likely you want to go to your body, and you're like, maybe a memory comes up of when you were feeling really connected to someone or to yourself, when everything just like made sense and was flowing and was just naturally feeling aligned and in flow. Now, all these terms of like aligned, feeling in flow, feeling connection, it's all feeling. Feeling has to do with the feminine. And therefore, the feminine actually is experienced through the body. So the body is essential for this. And so all of these tools that I'll be describing are body-based. So yes, there's also beautiful tools where you do conscious communication and you work out a certain topic and both of you feel really heard or seen in whatever way and understood. And then like there is going to be a new draw or sense of connection. That is definitely one way to get back together. However, if that's the only way, the only tool that you have, you're missing a whole like another toolkit that you can use that most likely is way faster and also way more pleasurable and easeful and playful to use and to get back together. So then you're actually using more your bodies and not just like your minds and language and words. And again, there is nothing per se wrong with that. There's really a lot of value in learning to communicate consciously and just being able to be heard and speak up and use your words and understand each other. That can be a very big turn on and a very big sense of like, oh my God, you understand me. I understand you. Oh my God, that's so funny. Like, and you feel closer. However, there's this whole different world, which is often unexplored, where we can come back to connection very easily, like really in a matter of minutes, instead of like looping and looping and looping and trying to like understand it logically. So in a matter of minutes, which is often very playful and pleasurable, and also gives this deep sense of fulfillment and nourishment because it's through the body and not through the mind. And eventually, like love, connection, intimacy, all of that is experienced and like is only deeply fulfilling when it comes from your body, when it feels like your energies are just on point and you're like, we match together. So instead of those two plus poles, it's like one is a plus and the other one is a minus. Like the man will drop fully into his masculinity, the woman fully in her femininity. And then you have plus and minus, and they easily want to come together and they like match and they just, they're drawn towards each other and they love coming together because then it's this feeling of like, we fit, like we're supposed to be together. Like now I feel like I'm whole, like I am complete. And so that's an amazing feeling, something we all deeply long for, both men and women, because like this world is built out of this duality in the sense of we are constantly looking for that, like that match, that fulfillment, whether that's within. So really allowing your own inner masculine and own inner feminine to merge and come together, or to have that in the more outer expression or with someone else where one of you is in the feminine, the other one in the masculine, and you have this natural like, we match, we fit like lock and key. And that's actually, as men and women, how we are built. We're designed to fit together like lock and key. And so basically our differences are essential for that. Instead of like what's happening more and more these days is that we're trying to just all be the same. Like there's this big part of the feminist movement that was actually not supporting the feminine or supporting women to be women. No, it was supporting women to be more masculine, to be more like men. And in that sense, to become equal. Now, I'm all for equality and having equal rights. Yes. However, I'm not for being like becoming the same, becoming equal in the sense of, well, both men and women are the same, because we are not the same. Like this is like, biology wise, we're built in a different way. Yes, we're both humans. So a lot of aspects are similar. However, literally your brain, your body, your biology is designed in a different way. And so your system works differently. And so trying to become like the other, it's never really going to work, or it will be something that's forced or actually against your nature. And what is really never beneficial is fighting against your nature. And so that's what I do in my work. Really, I help specifically women to really embrace and understand their own nature and to come back to their feminine nature, their feminine essence, their feminine power, and really drop into that like feeling of I'm home. I get it now. This is how I'm designed, how I'm built. This is how naturally my power, my essence, my energy wants to flow. And then you can start working with that. And then it actually starts amplifying your whatever you want. Now, that doesn't deny that you still have inner masculine, inner feminine. So you want to develop both qualities. But when I talk about this, the masculine really represents awareness, consciousness, being able to be the non-judgmental witnesser, the observer, like loving awareness in the sense of you can sit and be in meditation, in stillness or in presence, and you don't react. You don't take things personal. You just are there like an open vessel, like a pillar of light, we call it sometimes as well. That's a skill, something you can definitely develop. That is very essential to feel balanced in your life. Then the feminine, she's all about love and devotion and about connection. And so in general, we as women are built around connection. Our system is constantly built and designed to look for connection. Our whole system is actually built around the other. This was initially very kind of a little bit like a mind fucking ego crushing for me to hear, in the sense of, wait, as a woman, I'm built around the men, like my system is built around the other. That doesn't sound like fair or something I would like to believe or live accordingly. But no, actually, it's to understand that your system as the feminine, she longs for connection, for love. And that's actually a superpower. Like we are here to resemble that and to represent and to stand for and to make sure that this world consists and is built on connection, on love, on intimacy, on closeness, on doing things together, on collaborating. So these are all essential things. And if you hear these things, you're like, yeah, that make actually for a fun experience or a good team or a beautiful world if we have these things. So the feminine and her responsibilities are essential and are actually something very magical and beautiful and important to offer to this world. So the fact that your system is built around the other is just something to be aware of, that we as women are very adaptive. Again, that's a superpower in one way, and sometimes it can be a distraction. So that's why understanding this, bringing awareness into it, that's where it starts, because then you get your choice back. And then you can, whenever you want to, bring your inner masculine into support for a moment and to hold your safety instead of having to need something externally or someone externally around you for that. Anyways, this was a little bit of a sidetrack, but to come back to this concept of connection. So it's often an energetic, a felt experience. And therefore, to make that easy to come back to connection, you want to drop into that feminine, energetic, body-based world. And from there, go into the experience, into the softening, into the melting of coming back together. Now, when we feel disconnected, what happens on an energetic level is, like it almost feels, as I said, those plus poles, like energetically, we don't want to be close. And so then instead of like trying to resolve that or melt that, we go into the mind, try to explain it, freak out, make up all kinds of stories, then maybe go into an argument and try to talk it out. And it becomes this like often like a heavy thing, and definitely not something that is really playful or fun to do. And so now I'm going to actually start introducing one of the tools, because it will start making a lot more sense than what else do we do, right? Because you might be wondering, okay, but I don't know how else to easily come back to connection. So let me start with the very first tool, which me and Modestas actually use quite a lot. And I call it shaking. I wrote down shaking together, or shaking in general, because again, this is actually one of the tools you can do by yourself, and I highly recommend often to women to do this, and we practice this. So one of the very easy ways to come back to your body. So remember, specifically when we're feeling disconnected, often we're really in our mind trying to think something, and we're not in our bodies. So the key is to come back to your body. Now, how to come back to your body, sometimes that's more easily said than done. But there's basically, in Tantra, we always say three keys that will easily connect you to the feminine, which will connect you to the body, which will connect you to more of a present felt experience of life, which is breath, movement, and sound. So these three components you'll see will come back often in these tools. Not all of them, but a few of these tools are based on that principle, and you will use breath, movement, and sound in one form or another. Because imagine when you're feeling at peace, when you're feeling open to connection, when you're just feeling relaxed in your system. So this is also another key, is actually what is essential is to come out of fight and flight mode, out of survival mode, and to come back to rest and digest, to relaxation, to a sense of openness in your system. That's when you're able to receive, drop back into receiving, and that's where then naturally connection will unfold itself. And in order to like release any stress, because often it's because we're really stressed and we've been really like agitated and contracted, breath, movement, sound in one form or another. Because remember, or in a sense of breath is essential. When we're feeling stressed, our breath will be like high up in the body, fast paced, like short. When we're feeling relaxed, it's slow, it's deep, connected to your belly, all the way into your body. We make a very gentle, loving sound. And so breath is essential. Movement automatically, again, connects you to the body. There's like, it's that easy. Sometimes you have already experienced this if you play some sports or you go for some sort of exercise. Often we love that because it will help us to snap out of the head and really connect back to the body, and it will make us feel good. And if we're feeling good, then we're often more open to connecting. And sound is another essential one, because sound opens up a direct portal to connect back to the body and to release anything that was causing stress and just to express. And so sound or breath, movement, sound are essential. So the first tool is shaking. So specifically when I'm feeling stressed or overwhelmed, and when I'm just noticing I'm agitated, I feel like I want my space or don't want to connect at all or be close, not to my partner, but also not to myself. One really easy thing to do is to start shaking. And this can be shaking for a minute, but I would say shaking for at least 3 to 5 minutes is like, yeah, is a good way, is a good kind of mark to give yourself that little framework of give yourself at least 3 to 5 minutes to unwind like that. And yeah, how it looks is just like you allow your body to shake and you allow your breathing to sync up with that shaking, with that movement. And also at some point you start to allow sounds to come out. So, and the idea is that you keep on shaking. So that's the movement. You shake your body. You allow the breath to work with that. And you allow sound to come out as well to really amplify this shedding and this releasing of the stress. So your body you can basically sink more from your head down into your body, into your system. And so you can do this like by yourself. So just shaking for 3 to 5 minutes will automatically make you feel connected to your body. If you then stand in stillness for about a minute afterwards, you'll feel maybe tingling sensations and there's way more aliveness. And also it's just a really good way to release any stress or any panic or like something that shocking was happening in your life. Start shaking. It's really powerful. And actually it's not something like, it's actually something you can see in nature happening all the time. If you look at animals, I believe once I saw this video of a deer just escaping from a big lion. And so the deer was being filmed, and after it escaped, so it had to like suddenly be in fight and flight mode. So get the fuck out. So it worked that, it escaped. And then it started basically, you saw it shaking its leg. Like it was shaking off the excess adrenaline, the stress and the tension that came from the fight and flight mode. And it will start shaking and kind of sporadically moving its body, just getting rid of that tension to come back to rest and digest, to come back to relaxation, to come back to the here and now. So this is something that's actually ingrained in your body. Your body knows how to do this. However, what's happened is that we are taught and we're not like growing up in a way that we're like connected to our body. So basically all the development that we do is with our head. All the education that we do is with our head. And so we are so disconnected from our body, from our core nature, that we repress or we constrict or constrain the natural response, the natural impulse that our body would love to do for you to just come back to relaxation, back to connection to yourself or someone else. Because normally our body would just shake and tremble a little bit whenever it needs to get rid of excess stress or adrenaline. However, now we are like, what we do is maybe when we feel that, maybe we're not even aware that we're feeling it because we're that disconnected, but maybe we are aware that our body wants to do something, but we often hold it in because we're like, no, this is not the appropriate time. I can't do this right now. What are people going to think? Or like whatever excuse comes up of like, no, but I need to do things. I can't distract myself. Like we always make something up and we basically press it away. And so we don't give space to our natural bodily impulse to kick in and to just support us and take care of us, which is really sad. And also then you're fighting yourself, fighting your nature, which is actually very energy consuming. So to come back to shaking, you can either do this by yourself, 3 to 5 minutes. You can do that, I would say, standing, but you can also lie down on the bed and just allow your body to tremble and to shake and to just let it move any energy. This is actually something that I do quite a lot at the end of the day. I often will lie in bed, and if I'm noticing I've had a busy day and I don't feel relaxed, I just really tune into my body and it will naturally start just shaking and releasing whatever it needs to. And yeah, it's so powerful and easeful. And I just have to get out of the way in the sense of I don't need to understand this. I just allow it. It's really a sense of allowing as well. Now you can also do this together. And so how me and Modestas often use this is that we will either hold hands, and often when we can, we'll try to connect to nature at the same time. So we'll put our feet on the earth somewhere, wherever we have a garden. In Bali, that tends to be quite easy because it's warm and a lot of living is outside. So that's not always easy, possible. But yeah, if it's possible, like going out in nature and holding hands and just both standing side to side and just allowing both of your bodies to shake. And so you don't have to be worried about the other person or try to like shake as fast or in the same rhythm or anything. That will come naturally. You'll notice that you naturally start syncing up, but both initially starting your own process. You can also start individually and not holding hands. But then, yeah, holding hands together and you just unwind and you shake and you use breath, use movement, and you use maybe sounds. Maybe you want to make up weird faces or, yeah, pull up some weird faces, make some weird sounds. Actually, almost the weirder you can get, the better, because it just helps you to come back to a sense of playfulness and humor, and also to, it not having to be logical or perfect or look a certain way or like still be like neat and tidy in a certain box contained. No, you basically want to take off that container and just be like, no, you're free. Like move it, show it, feel it. Come back to you, to your core essence, to your playfulness. And so then shaking together 3 to 5 minutes or so until you slowly feel that you're like, okay, now our bodies start to like sync up together. Now I'm slowly starting to soften and open up. My body's relaxing, my shoulders drop, like tension releases anywhere. And then naturally, most likely you'll feel like, oh, okay, I like you again. Or, oh, I feel us naturally coming together. That doesn't have to be like a massive attraction of like, okay, now we're like wanting to passionately make out or any of these things. No, connection can also be very yin. Like it can be very like active in the sense of passionate, polarized, fiery, but it can also be very like airy or watery or just more subtle and yin, but very relaxing and calming. And that can be very special to share a moment like that of deep stillness, of deep peace, where you don't need to use words all the time and where you just connect by actually just being here, living the moment. Like I remember there's this one saying or this one quote, this principle we often use in our relationship. It's like, instead of talk about the relationship or discuss the relationship or try to understand the relationship, let's just be in the relationship. And like you are in a relationship or you stepped into that because you just liked being together. And that meant like spending connection time together, like just doing, like being in life's experience instead of talking about life and trying to understand it and discuss why this and this didn't go well or that went well or whatever. No, what's really nourishing and what we long for is just to be in a relationship. So actually be there. And so, yeah, this is the first tool that I recommend, shaking together. You can do that by yourself, but definitely it can be really powerful to just do that together, holding hand in hand, holding hands, and yeah, just allowing yourself to shake for 3 to 5 minutes. And afterwards, you can see what's there. Maybe you naturally want to hug. Maybe you just want to both like sit in stillness, and just enjoy that like new, fresh, almost like this new dawn kicks in, that feeling, let that beautifully settle in and just enjoy that sense of peace and relaxation and natural like, okay, it's nice to be with myself. It's nice to be with you. And then see naturally what comes from there, what naturally wants to unfold. And then basically you come back into flow. So then you can flow together again. And so, yeah, then the unfolding can magically happen. Another tool, this is basically the second one I'll be discussing. It's like a spooning position. It doesn't have like a specific name, but it has to do with spooning. And specifically, this tool comes in very handy when it has to do with also like the woman dropping into her feminine, the man dropping into his masculine. In the sense of the man is holding and supporting and creating that like safety net for the feminine, and the feminine drops into feeling, and connecting to her lower belly, to her senses, to, her emotional fluidity, her emotions. And this tool, it's so simple, but it's golden. And it's specifically women when you're in your luteal phase of your cycle, when you're in that, often a lot of women experience PMS, but it's not the PMS phase because it's not something normal. It's common, but it's not supposed to be normal that you're having extreme, terrible time during this last phase of your cycle. Actually, this last phase of your cycle holds a really important lesson and key, and it can be super pleasurable to be in. But specifically when you're very emotionally overwhelmed, or you're noticing that you're fully activated in your emotions and your partner is confused on what to do, because often what happens is Men will try to fix and solve. That's like a little bit how their system and brain is designed. They're always focused on, creating solutions, of reaching a certain goal, of fixing things, of providing in that way. And so this can actually, or what it does often, really aggravate the feminine in the sense of stop trying to fix or solve me, just hold me. However, when the feminine is really emotional, then she sometimes starts unleashing in her emotions, and then he will try to fix or solve or not know what to do, and he freaks out. Then maybe a fight starts because you're like, well, you're not just getting what you need, which is just basically, you don't need him to fix or solve you. You need his presence. You need his stillness. He just needs to become this like vast enough in his field, in his stillness, in his awareness, in his like being so present with you. That's the masculine is the container in which the feminine can flow. And so the feminine invites the masculine to become more present. So like as women, we are the ultimate contradiction. We're always changing. We're always, like we're constantly on the move. We're constantly adapting. We're a different woman every week, but mainly every day. So we're moving constantly in cycles. So we're like completely illogical. That's a superpower. And it actually invites the masculine into becoming more present, being able to become vast enough to hold all these contradictions instead of trying to understand it or logically fix it or solve it or like put it into a beautiful, neat overview and boxes. No, you just become present still, like in this, like, yes, I'm fully with you. And that's it. I'm just holding. And so this is something the feminine deeply craves. Just like I remember my Tantra teacher once saying that she did some research and asked women, like, what is it something that you deeply crave from men? And basically all of the answers were like, I just want him to be more present. Now, specifically when a lot of emotions arise, like we'll try to, like invite him to in presence, but it won't always be in a healthy or in a way that's supportive for both or that he understands or knows what to do. This is something you can train together. And so this tool is actually, you can ask for it. So this is your responsibility as a woman. It's not just like, oh, I'm emotional, so like you like do whatever you need to do and you need to just be present with me. It's like, no, actually you're aware that there's a lot of emotions and that you need to feel a lot, and you have your own healthy ways of feeling that. You can either do that by yourself, by like emotional alchemy tools, things I teach, but also it can be really nice to just be held by that in the masculine. It's a deep longing to just be held and to just be fully embraced and accepted in our emotions and in our emotional fluidity, and to be fully, seen and just supported in that. Now, however, we're not really taught how that can be done easily, and so we don't really know what to ask for. Now, this is something from now on out that you can ask for. So it's now your responsibility that if you're noticing you're feeling a lot of emotions, a lot of overwhelm, like all logics basically go out of the door and you don't really see left from right anymore, and your partner is like confused on what to do, doesn't know what to do, wants to support you, but also gets kind of terrified and scared, and I don't know, the aggravation starts to happen. Like that could be one way, but you can also ask for this tool like when that is not happening, but this is often something that plays out, then this is the way to go. And so the position is a spooning position. As a woman, you lie on your left side, and a man also on his left side automatically, and he will be behind you. So basically spooning you from the back. And then he places his right hand on your lower belly, on your womb. And you just rest, you don't do anything. And he just holds your lower belly, your womb. And so your womb, your lower belly is the center of emotional fluidity of your emotions. It's a feminine power center. And by him holding his hand, and you just lie there for 5, maybe maximum 10 minutes, and you just rest like that. And if you notice as the woman, like emotions coming up still, tears, crying, allow yourself to go in that. You might want to use your breath. You might want to use a little bit of movement, but not like, you're in a spooning position, so you can't go like fully wild. This is not that tool for that. But you can make some sounds and just allow his presence, his hand resting on your lower belly, allowing that sensation to fully sink in, feeling that presence, feeling that protection and safety that he offers by being spooning you, by him wrapping himself around you, and by him just holding your lower belly. And this is a beautiful way to merge and to connect back as men and women, or as masculine and feminine. It doesn't have to per se be men and women. You can also do this even with a friend, specifically when you have a girlfriend who is very emotional and in her luteal phase and overwhelmed. Like, I've done this and asked my girlfriend, is like, hey, do you want me to just hold you? And then we do either this position or one, which I'll describe in a minute, because that's a little like, almost similar based on a similar principle. But this is just really beautiful to feel each other's bodies. And like, as a woman, you focus on really dropping into your feminine, and he is being invited to fully drop into his masculine. And that naturally will switch those poles around, where it becomes this plus minus that naturally wants to just be close and connected and want to support each other. Because the masculine and the feminine, in the end, they just want to support each other. They're here to support each other. And this is a really powerful way to let that naturally come out, because it will just happen if you do this position. It will just spontaneously happen if you stop trying to think or overthink it and just ask him, hey, can you spoon me? And then place your right hand on your lower belly. And can we just relax and rest like this for 5 to 10 minutes? So what really helps specifically when you want to invite your partner into this, and like what is beneficial to invite the masculine into things, is to give clarity. So instead of like, can you just like be present with me now? And if you're really in overwhelm, that can be very like kind of scary and overwhelming for him, because he's like, okay, I'm trying to be present, but I'm not sure for how long, and am I doing it right? And in this way, you have a specific tool, specific position, like he can't do that wrong, or like he can't do that wrong, you can't do that wrong. Plus you can say, really like, give a time frame. So like you can set even a timer for 5 to 10 minutes, and then you see what naturally is there, but also you can allow natural space to then come in. So you had your moment of connection, and then allow space to settle in. Either you relax longer if you need to, specifically if there were lots of emotions. And so a different way to do this position, which you can do, as I said, like, which sometimes we do, or I do with my girlfriends when there's a lot of emotions, or I'll ask for that support as well, is to just lie down on your back and someone is holding your womb. Left hand underneath your lower belly, like underneath on the lower spine, like underneath the womb, and the right hand rests on top. And you just hold, or someone holds your womb, and you just basically breathe into the space in between the hands. And in that way, really connect to your womb, to your emotions, and like really stay with that like dance and movement, whatever is coming up, and whether you need to make sound, whether you need to cry, whether you need to shake or make some like, any sort of other movement or emotions that are coming up, it's like all welcome. And the other person is just holding, can be for, I would say like about 5 minutes or so. And if you specifically want to do this by yourself, because it's really powerful to do this with someone else, because then you really learn to receive. Then you really give yourself, it's like something we're not used to and can be very vulnerable to be held like that. But actually this is like a type of vulnerability, and it helps you to drop really fully into your feminine power and to be seen in that, to be seen in your emotions, to be seen in your vulnerability. And so it will nurture and nourish and unlock something, which is, kind of like a next step into that. So if you can do this with someone else, it's very highly beneficial. But also if you don't, and you still feel like there's a lot of emotional overwhelm, you can still also place your hands always on your lower belly, and breathing into your lower belly, into your womb by yourself, and then let any emotions to come out. And so this is a really beautiful way to easily connect to your emotions, to feeling, and in a yin way, slowly unravel that. So yes. Okay, everyone. So Modestus just walked in, and he decided to join because we have 3 more tools to go. I just described 2 ways to easily come back to connection. The third one, I just talked about shaking. We do shaking together a lot. And also the spooning position, where you place your right hand on my lower belly. Yeah. And in general, just holding my womb. Yeah.
It's amazing.
And the third one I call belly to belly breathing. And this is also a tool that we use a lot when we're feeling a little bit disconnected or heady, or we're noticing we're kind of like just moving in different directions. And belly to belly breathing, how it looks is often it's easy to do this lying down. It could also be standing up, but you want your bellies to connect. I'm getting a little distracted, a little like, oh. So you can lie down trying to get your bellies to connect and really get that physical contact between your bellies. And then from there, you basically start breathing together. So belly, you breathe into your belly. So that's why like the focus goes really down into your body, into that connection of your bellies. And deep belly breathing into your belly and out with a sigh, with a sound, with an exhale. And again, these components of breath, movement, sound are essential here. So you want to you focus on the breath. So it starts with the anchor point is the breath. So start just with breathing deep into your belly, exhale, and see if you can start to sync up your breathing as well. Start to breathe together. Then you can allow some sound to come out on the exhale. And then eventually you can also allow some shaking or some trembling to start happening. And so basically in that way, you both start unwinding your nervous system and unwind any like mind-based, wherever you were at dimension, and come back to the body. And from there, naturally, because you're doing that together, you'll start to notice that over time, if you do this 5, 10, it's like 15 minutes max.
15 minutes max.
Yeah, maximum 15 minutes. Like you can set that timer for 50 minutes and trust that process and keep breathing and keep breathing. And yeah, you'll naturally start feeling that at some point you've just been unwinding, unraveling any stress, any disconnect, anything where your energy system were just like aggravated or annoyed with each other. This is also a really powerful tool. If you were in some sort of argument, and like, okay, you maybe have come to a point of some sort of resolution, but you still feel like in your bodies, it's not a full like, fuck yes, I want to be close, then do belly to belly breathing and allow to unravel anything from a body perspective and not so much from a mind. So stop trying to then understand everything and just allow any emotions that need to come out. They're not that directed at your partner. So if they come out, you take responsibility for them. You move them. If you need to scream in a pillow for a moment, you can move to the side and come back. And yeah, just allow yourself to unravel.
Can I steal your microphone for a moment?
Yes.
So I'll just steal your podcast in a moment. Yeah, so this specific tool, as other tools too, are having a lot to do with relaxation. So that has to do with letting go of trying to do something or trying to achieve something or trying for something to happen also. It's like giving yourself the permission to come back to love without forcing it. So there are many different philosophies that you could read about it. One of them would be Wu Wei in Taoist tradition. It's like action without action. So you are just breathing, just allowing the belly to be connect, and you are making sound just with every exhalation, but you're not trying to shake. You're not trying to force something. The shaking comes from relaxation, from full let go. So it is, in a sense, coming back to love. It's love is always there. Love is always going to be there for you, but it is a way to let go and melt into it and be like, okay, I'll surrender to love, and then love naturally will let you feel what needs to be moved, and the shaking that will need to happen, it will happen if there is. And at the same time, then your nervous system will be able to relax into rest and digest state. So the sound is very important because it also stimulates the vagus nerve, and that will make you relax more and more and more, as that vibration will relax you. And at the same time, connection with the partner and the sound is at the same moment, it is going to help you both drop into something that is beyond just having a conversation, way beyond. So there's a deep connection, deep surrender to it, and something that cannot be discovered otherwise. So either belly to belly or the spooning position, both of them are surrendering positions. So both of you are surrendering. There's nothing to do and nothing to achieve, and that's kind of the key. Because in this day and age, we are so used to so used to achieving, that it sometimes can be difficult to have a yin pose where you don't need to achieve anything, and or it's more of a surrender where you are just letting your love just shower you. So that's very important, I believe, in this tool to get into relaxation and surrender and let go.
Yes, I love it. Yeah, basically all of these tools are built on that principle of allowing and surrendering and dropping more into yin. So tool number 4, we call the recharge position, or the Shiva and Shakti yantra. And this is a little bit more complicated to explain over podcast. However, we've created a reel, which we're going to post, or maybe already have posted at this point, but I'll make sure it's linked in the podcast description so you can have a look at the specific position. This specific position is, as it says, recharging. It's very, very recharging. It's beautiful to do also after lovemaking and to just drop into recharge position, or like when you're feeling both quite tired, but you still want to connect. But just really want to, feel like, okay, we both need kind of like a power nap or to be recharged. You can do recharge position. And so how it looks is basically both of you lie down. I would say the man lies down first with his legs white, arms white. So you're basically the star position. You're basically 2 stars coming together. And then the woman, you, basically your legs face each other. So you're I'm trying to describe this properly.
in the reel, you're gonna see it clearly. But basically, there are 2 people laying down, but they're not laying down side by side. Our feet are going to be crossing. So if you would be, let's say, if a woman would be on top of a man, and then from that position, from Yabyan position, you would be just laying down, you would get into the Shiva Shakti yantra like instantly. But the most important thing is that we are holding the soles of the feet with our palms, and at the center of the soles of the feet and also at the center of the palms, there is a chakra point, which is heart chakra point or heart point, connected to the heart. And so then it is becoming more connective and it becomes more relaxing. Another thing that happens in that specific constellation is that we have 2 sides. One is more giving side, that would be the right side, and one is more receiving side, the left side. Specifically energetically, this is the way. And so when we are connected in this specific shape, you'll see it in the reel, then you are giving from your right side, so let's say right arm, right palm, and the person is receiving in their left foot, and then so on and so forth. So they're giving from their right palm, I'm receiving from my left foot, but then they're giving out, I'm giving out from my right leg, they're receiving from their left foot, and so on and so forth. So there's an energy flow that just naturally happens, and it forms this sacred shape. Yantra is just stands for sacred shape. That has a meaning to it, but also at the same time it has an energetic imprint to it, and it does work really well in harmonizing the energies of masculine and feminine, or harmonizing energies after like active period of time. Maybe it's lovemaking, maybe it's fight, or whatever it is. So dropping whatever you had and just going into this shape, into this yantra, is going to be very beneficial, because then you harmonize. And again, it's a let go position, so it's not about trying to do something, and it is just allowing you to truly be there in the moment. I have a friend of mine who said that she's a Tantrika, and she said that the first time she experienced full body orgasm was actually in this specific yantra shape. So it has potential.
I love it. That's some good motivation there to try it out. So yeah, basically you are 2 triangles coming together, triangle shapes. And so this naturally, there is a upward facing triangle, that's the masculine representation, the symbol for it. And a downwards facing triangle is the feminine, representing the womb. And so basically in this shape, you create that with your bodies. And yeah, it's this beautiful merging and beautiful melting of the masculine and the feminine. So definitely a really powerful one, a very mystical one as well. I've always had different kinds of experiences. Sometimes just a really good nap, and sometimes just, I don't know, a lot of visions and this I have never had a full body orgasm in it though, but I'm definitely open to that. I'll surrender deeper next time. Okay, and then we're coming to the fifth and last tool that I wanted to describe in this podcast, and that's the yin plug. Those that have listened and are really active listeners of the podcast, you are aware of what this means or what this is about, because we recorded a whole podcast on the yin plug. That podcast is called, I believe, the sex pose you didn't know you needed, or that will change your sex life, and then the concept of tantric sex. We dive fully into explaining what the yin plug is all about. But just to give a short recap, because this is also a really powerful tool that we use a lot to come back to connection in a more yin way, and specifically also back to sexual union. And just because, one ultimate way of connection is when your genitals come together, and when your like whole body in that sense merges and matches and fits. However, like sometimes when things come up or life is busy, we tend to like actually stop having sex in what shape or form, also because we have this feeling, this idea that sex needs to be this super yang thing. I need to feel activated for it. I need to feel desire for it. I need to feel passion for it. I need to feel this lust and excitement for my partner. And what if that's not naturally there? Then we're like, okay, then I guess we're not having sex. But basically in that way, we slowly move away from connection. And I'm pretty sure everyone has experienced these phases in your relationship where, I know, you're starting to have less and less sex. And then it becomes actually more and more difficult to come back to sex. Almost like it starts feeling more and more awkward, or more and more like complicated or difficult to do. And the sad thing that happens over time for a lot of couples, they just stop having sex altogether. And then, well, that never leads to a very like fulfilling relationship. And then people go, getting confused, and maybe this is not the relationship for me anymore. And we lost the spark. However, the spark is something that you can naturally cultivate, and that you'll have to naturally be able to activate in order to have these ups and downs in your relationship. Now, yin plug is a really beautiful way to still have sexual union and have sex, but in a very yin way, in a very like, we don't have to perform, we don't have to reach anywhere, we don't have to go for massive states of pleasure or orgasmicness, or we don't have to feel energized even for it. No, this is something literally you can do when you're exhausted. Like we fell asleep in this posture many times.
We had it yesterday. Yep, we totally fell asleep on it yesterday. I remembered. So it's an amazing position, because you are allowing yourself again to drop into relaxation, which requires you to not try to do anything, and even with not having a lot of time, you can do that. This yin posture also can be done with soft lingam or soft penis. So that means that you could be inside with soft penis and not having like pressure to be hard or to do something with it is going to be essential also, because in this position you're not supposed to be, or not you don't need to be moving. You can, of course, if the energy starts rising, you can start moving if both of you want to do so, but it doesn't require. You can actually just rest in there, and there's a beautiful recharge. It actually energizes so much that I remember that even this night, like at some point I was like, oh my god, this so much energy. I need to unplug, because this is just gonna be, but it was after quite some time, maybe like 20-40 minutes of this position. So maybe even more, because we totally fell asleep, so it's difficult to say. So what is the benefit of that is that you are going to be connecting, and you don't need to do much about it. Now, if the lingam is soft and if the yoni is not lubricated well, then it is going to be important to use some kind of lubrication. I specifically make body butter that makes real good use in that case, because it is made from natural materials and from coconut oil, cacao butter, and that's really beautifully melting in the genitals, and you can use it internally, externally. So, but you can also use any kind of water-based solution, and if you're using condoms, then make sure that the condoms are non-latex if you're using coconut oil. And in general, because latex can be quite allergic. Anyway, the thing. So it can cause an allergic reaction for some women. So trying to be in that posture is going to be super simple. Just getting into the position, into the scissors. Again, you'll see that in the reel. And from there, you just rest. You can rest one hand over her heart, or over each other's body, and look at each other's eyes or have our eyes closed and just breathe and not try to do anything else other than that. So in itself, it's an amazing posture specifically for going, like when you are late at night and you both don't really have that much energy. Sometimes when we try to push it and we try to perform more, we over squeeze, over perform at that time. Or we can, go get into super high excitation, and then it's very difficult to go to sleep. So we could both make love and go to sleep nicely. This position is amazing. And if you don't have too much energy, then such a thing as like, oh, I'm tired is not an excuse anymore for intimacy or for connection. You can actually allow yourself to have that connection. Of course, there's multiple layers of healing also that happens through this posture.
Yeah, it's absolutely super healing. And so just to explain it practically one more time, like I'm linking a reel in the podcast description in which we show the yin plug in a sense of how to do it, because we call it like it's a scissors position with your legs. And it's essential because it creates this, if you do it correctly, this lock between your two hips and your two genitals. So that means that even if his lingam, his penis is soft, like it will stay inside. And that is, something really magical to experience, to just be able to be so in yin, and you still have this sexual union without him having to be erect. Like he can be erect initially, and then you go into yin plug and he softens inside of you, but also he doesn't even have to get erect in the first place, because you can use your fingers as a woman, or he can support with that as well, to gently guide in his soft lingam inside of your yoni. Most likely you'll need some lubrication of some sort. And then if you do this pose correctly, because of the lock of your hips, it will just naturally stay inside, because often when the lingam normally becomes soft, it will slip out easily. In the yin plug specifically, it won't. And then you can just rest and meditate. You can eye gaze, you can have your eyes closed. And there's a really big healing quality to this. Again, if you're interested in wanting to know more about it, listen to the other podcast episode. I had multiple people reach out that have like never done any tantric thing, and they tried the position and they were like, oh my God, this worked. I don't really know how, but it worked. There was something really special there. So I would say, try it out. Okay, so that was 5 ways to easily come back to connection with your partner the tantric way. I would like to finish off with a little share on something really exciting that we are creating in this moment, but maybe it's already finished when this podcast comes out. And that's the Bridge online course for couples. And it consists of 3 tantric dates: the art of presence, the art of polarity, and the art of passion. And in this online course, it's all pre-recorded. We basically, in each module, each date, we give a little discourse where we talk about a certain topic of like what is tantra, or what is polarity, or how to create long-lasting passion and long-lasting spark. And we dive into some core theoretical concepts, and then we explain a certain exercise for you to practice with your partner, which are designed to help you connect more deeply, to get to know each other more, to really feel loved and heard and seen, also to feel way more relaxed and just honored in both your masculinity and femininity. And it's very playful, and all of them are like you're doing something together with your partner, often body-based, or really in the sense of something with conscious communication. So basically 3 tantric dates to do and explore with your partner. Specifically, if you're new to tantra, don't really know where to start, or just want something new to do with your partner, then this course is for you. And you can find all the information in the podcast description. Anything you'd like to add about it?
Yeah, it's an amazing. I've never seen something like that in the world. Just to have an opportunity to do something together with your partner without even leaving your home, and use these dates and get to know about Tantra, and it in a very beautiful way. That is an amazing invitation. In my opinion, it's the most easy access to Tantra that has ever been, and Tantric practices specifically, because of course we can read books about Tantra, but in books they don't necessarily share practices themselves, because that's not how Tantra works. You need to go through experience. So this is an amazing way for specifically couples to bring tantric experiences into your daily life, so you could have even more amazing intimacy, or revive the intimacy that maybe was lost throughout the years of relationship. So it's amazing. I love it. I love editing it, and it's such a pleasure.
Amazing. Okay, so thank you for listening. Thank you for popping in. It was really lovely, and sending you so much love, everyone. Thank you so much for listening to this episode. Now, before you tune out, if you felt inspired, enjoyed listening, had some beautiful insights, I would really highly appreciate it if you could leave me a 5-star review or share the episode with a friend or on your social medias. Also, as always, please feel free to reach out to me with any questions or anything you would like to share. You can do so on my Instagram at Dieke Terweel. That is DIEKETERWEEL. Also, if you're curious on how to work with me, then make sure to check out the information in the podcast description. And for now, I hope to see you in the next one.